Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. You know, we live in a world that honestly often demands this super tough exterior from us. But today we're going to look closely at what it actually means to experience the world with a gentler, much more perceptive heart. We're exploring the beauty, the incredible depth, and that highly sensitive emotional baseline of what we call the delicate pulse. Let's get right into it. So I want to start off by asking a pretty personal question, one that gets right to the very heart of emotional vulnerability. Do you cry over small things? Seriously, think about your day-to-day life for a second. Have you ever found yourself suddenly tearing up at a beautifully worded commercial? Or, I don't know, just the way the light catches the trees in the late afternoon? Maybe a fleeting, super quiet moment of kindness between two total strangers on the train? Well, if you're nodding your head right now, let me tell you, you are absolutely not alone. In fact, this whole explainer is made entirely for you. This specific phrase right here, people who cry very easily over small things, it just completely validates an experience that so many of us share, right? It captures this massive, incredibly complex internal world. It speaks directly to a very specific way of moving through life. It's almost like your emotional receptors are constantly tuned to this super highly receptive frequency. You're constantly picking up on the subtle vibrations, the unspoken moods, and just the quiet beauty of the world around you that, honestly, most other people might just walk right past without a second thought. Moving into part 1, the delicate pulse. Okay, so we really need to establish that sensitivity is not a flaw. No way. It's actually a living, breathing pulse of emotion. When we talk about a delicate pulse, we're talking about a rich, highly responsive emotional landscape. Think about it like this. Just as your physical pulse literally proves your heart is beating and pumping blood, right? Well, an emotional pulse proves your spirit is actively engaging with your environment. You aren't numb, not at all. You're in this constant, vibrant dialogue with the world, feeling everyday moments so deeply. When you have this kind of delicate pulse, you don't just observe life from a safe distance. You absorb it. You let the whole thing wash over you. And yeah, the highs feel incredibly soaring, and for sure, the lows can feel profoundly deep. But honestly, that sheer responsiveness is exactly what makes your emotional landscape so rich and truly alive. So that brings us to part 2, crying over small things. Let's take a closer look at people who cry. Now, crying is literally one of the most fundamental, universal human responses we have as a species. It is quite literally the body's way of releasing built-up emotional energy. And for highly sensitive people, those tears sit right at the surface. They act as this completely natural, super healthy pressure valve for a mind and heart that are taking in just a ton of information all at once. Because think about it, when you're constantly processing the moods of others, the aesthetics of your environment, plus all your own internal reflections, I mean, that energy has to go somewhere, right? The physical release of crying is just the body's brilliant biological mechanism for restoring balance to a deeply impacted system. And the thing is, for these folks, it happens very easily. But listen, I want to be super clear here. This isn't about lacking emotional control or being unstable, not at all. It's really about a lack of rigid emotional barriers. It's an effortless, almost immediate translation from feeling a profound emotion directly to expressing it physically. The gap between the heart and the eyes is just incredibly short. While someone else might feel a twinge of sadness or a spark of joy and just kind of internalize it, the sensitive person allows that spark to instantly materialize. The ease with which those tears fall, it's simply a testament to how totally unblocked and unguarded their emotional pathways actually are. So the real catalyst here isn't necessarily some massive tragedy, but rather it's over the seemingly minor, everyday things that just happen to strike a chord. You don't always need a monumental life event, a major crisis, or some sweeping cinematic climax to be moved to tears. Nope. The delicate pulse is activated by the subtle, the quiet, the ordinary stuff. It's the everyday textures of life that often carry the most emotional weight. And that's because those are the exact moments that feel the most raw, the most genuine, and honestly, the most universally human. Let's break this down further in part 3, understanding the triggers. You see, a delicate pulse naturally tunes right into the absolute micro moments of life that completely bypass everyone else. We're talking about the anatomy of a small thing, seemingly minor events, everyday occurrences, nuanced moments that others might completely miss. But here's the secret. To a highly sensitive person, these moments aren't actually small at all. It's noticing the exhausted yet kind smile of a barista handing you your morning coffee. Or, the specific gentle way the wind moves through a tree outside your window on a quiet afternoon. It's seeing an old couple holding hands crossing the street, or catching a perfectly composed lyric in a song playing faintly in the background. Because you process your environment with such immense care and detail, you literally see the macro in the micro. A tiny gesture suddenly holds the weight of the entire human experience. You sense this profound connection embedded in simple, everyday occurrences, which completely transforms the mundane right into the miraculous. Okay, which leads us to a really crucial step. Part 4, reframing the tears. So often, the internal stigma we carry around tells us, I am totally overreacting to a small thing. And society reinforces this constantly, right? It suddenly makes us feel embarrassed for our tears, telling us to toughen up or just brush it off. But we really need to shift this into an empowered reality. Instead of telling yourself you're overreacting, try telling yourself, I am experiencing the delicate pulse of my sensitivity. Because you are not overreacting. Actually, scratch that. You're responding perfectly and appropriately to a world that you just happen to feel with incredible depth. These tears aren't a breakdown, guys. They're a breakthrough. They're hard evidence of a finely tuned emotional instrument functioning exactly as it was designed to. Releasing that stigma, that's what allows you to step into the truth that feeling deeply is an absolute gift, not a burden. So I want to leave you with this. If your tears are truly just the delicate pulse of a rich, vibrant emotional landscape, how does that change the way you view your own strength? Seriously, think about that. Empathy is an absolute superpower, and your ability to cry easily is just a beautiful, visible manifestation of that power. It means you care. It means you are present. So please keep embracing that delicate pulse. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will catch you next time.